One of India's most prominent leaders and staunch supporters of Tibet issue, Shri Narayan once said, Tibet will never die because there is no death for the human spirit. Communism will never succeed because man will not be slave forever. And this is how Indian leaders looked at Tibet issue some decades ago. And in today's time, it seems that Tibet issue is fading away in the general public discourse and Indian Parliament in particular. So today I will sit down with Shri Sujeet Kumar ji, the member of Indian Parliament. We will discuss how important is Tibet for India. Will the government of India confer its highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, on His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama? So we will find out on all these issues. So thank you so much for giving us this wonderful time despite being so busy, particularly during the Parliament session. So thank you for hosting us at your home in New Delhi. We feel very honored.
Thank you, Yasiji. Thank you. Thank you. And namaskar to all your viewers. Tasidalek.
Sir, I wanted to begin by asking you about a very important issue that popped up recently. So that is the Epstein file. When we look at the international community, the Chinese propaganda machinery is trying to attempt to smear the image of His Holiness the Dalai Lama by saying that His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama has met Jeffrey Epstein, so which is not so true. That's why the office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama has issued a statement by saying that there was never a talk or meeting happened between Jeffrey Epstein and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So how do you look at that kind of propaganda machinery produced by Chinese people?
Well, it's shameful. It's disgusting. It's very, very unfortunate. But what do you expect the Chinese Communist Party and the regime in China to do? I mean, that's the typical strategy, spreading propaganda, falsehood. You know, they have been lying about the historical status of Tibet. You know, Tibet was a proud independent nation for centuries and they have occupied it. So in order to perpetuate their illegal occupation, they have to tell all this, false narrative. You have to spread this false narrative. And His Holiness today is the most revered, spiritual leader in the world. So no matter what the CCP and the Chinese regime, they spread, however much falsehood they spread, people will not buy this. And His Holiness office also has, put out a statement, and I have also retweeted about the statement. So it's shameful, but honestly, this is something you expect from the CCP and from the Chinese, the authoritarian regime there.
So this is not the first time from the Chinese Communist Party who was trying to smear the image of His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Right.
A similar incident happened some years back.
Yes.
So they were targeting on a specific occasion, because if you look at what happened some years ago, His Holiness was supposed to attend the first Global Buddhist Summit organized by the government of India.
Yeah.
And they released that kind of propaganda.
Right.
And this time, which comes when His Holiness received the Grammy recognition.
Yeah.
So do you see a calculated propaganda machinery?
Yeah, it's a calculated strategy by the CCP to smear the absolutely clean and impeccable image and standing of His Holiness. Today not only Tibetans worldwide, but people cutting across religion, cutting across nationalities, they revere His Holiness. And this is something which is not liked and is anathema to China. And they see His Holiness as the biggest obstacle in their cultural and cultural genocide, the systematic way they are hell-bent on and destroying the Tibetan culture, killing Tibetan people, putting 1 million Tibetan children in boarding schools, all these things which are doing to perpetuate the illegal occupation. His Holiness is the biggest roadblock. Today, the kind of aura, the kind of reverence, the kind of respect and regards people have for His Holiness is beyond words. So this is something which the Chinese cannot tolerate, and that's why they strategically, Chinese are very strategic in spreading narrative, false narrative and propaganda. So last time also they spread this just prior to the Buddhist conference which His Holiness was supposed to attend, and now after the Grammy Award, in fact, there was an official statement also by China condemning this award. But I mean, just look at it, the extent they go to, but I think truth can never be hidden. His Holiness himself is the greatest living example of the power of truth. Okay, and we lovingly call him the living Buddha. So truth cannot be hidden. Truth cannot be kept hidden for a long time. So ultimately people get to know. And my belief is that in this process, CCP is cutting a sorry figure and is actually making itself look in a bad light. It's not His Holiness' reputation or standing that is getting affected, but CCP and the China and the reputation of China itself today as a master bluffer, as a country which is known for peddling lies, that is getting established across the world.
Sir, as an Indian MP, what is your advice to young Indians and the common people in India when they fall into this kind of propaganda prey?
Yeah, social media has become a very, it has become a double-edged sword. It has great benefits, but it also has become a platform for peddling lies, for deepfakes, for character assassination, and for all kinds of scamsters, and so online safety, online the digital space, making a safe digital space is very important. So my advice to youngsters would be to use it responsibly. As much as it's a friend, it can also be a dangerous enemy. There is a saying that with great power comes great responsibility. And with social media, it's a great tool in your hand. It's a great power that you have, but it also demands that you exercise that power and use it very responsibly and ethically and sensibly. Coming back to the issue of Tibet specifically, I urge all youngsters, particularly from the Tibetan community, that you need to tell your story. Somehow China has been successful in spreading this false narrative across the world for decades now, that Tibet is an internal issue of China, which is not. Tibet has always been an independent nation, proud nation, and China occupied Tibet in the 50s. They just walked into Tibet and taking advantage of the geopolitical scenario, then taking advantage of the fact that the World War II had ended, and both Britain and the then Soviet Union were occupied. Otherwise, many new nations were birthed, including India. So I think that scenario suited China in occupying Tibet. And in 1951, they occupied Tibet, and they have been illegally occupying Tibet since then. So this reality of Tibet should be told to the world. And only the youth of Tibet can do it convincingly. No matter how much I say, it will have a different interpretation. So it's for the people of the Tibetan community, particularly youth, across the globe, not only those who are living in India, because those who are living in Tibet cannot speak, given the restrictions there. So it's incumbent, on the Tibetan youth living outside Tibet to speak for the community, to speak about the reality of Tibet. The roof of the world today is on the verge of, cultural, environmental destruction. So this reality needs to be told.
And so when it comes to the social media influences, China is also very clever by inviting some of India's social media influencers to China and tell them to project how China is developed. So how do you look at this kind of propaganda mechanism?
No, first of all, I must admit that yes, China has done remarkably well. Chinese economy has been has been doing really well for almost 30 years. They were more than 30 years. They were growing at a very, very healthy rate. And today China has been able to lift millions of people out of poverty. The kind of infrastructure they have been able to build, particularly in the manufacturing sector, it's world class. So let's give it to them that, yes, and China today has a very, very significant military economy, is doing well. Technologically also they are doing quite well. So yes, those things are fine. But China is very good at co-opting, institutions, whether it's the academic institutions or media or think tanks or individual influencers. And anyone who is critical of the Chinese policy or the atrocities committed by China in Xinjiang or Tibet, they try to influence them by inviting them to Beijing or to China. Okay, and they try to win over that person by their hospitality, by gifts, by free travel and whatnot. Unfortunately, some of these institutions and individuals, they fall for it without realizing that they're getting trapped in a way. Okay, mind trap, if not actual trap, it's a mind trap by CCP and by the Chinese authorities. I'm not saying that they shouldn't go to China. I'm not saying that they shouldn't study China, they shouldn't enjoy the hospitality of China. Yes, see, our fight is not against the Chinese people, right? Our fight is against the authoritarian regime, the CCP, which has illegally occupied Tibet, which is trying to bully other countries, which has today become, the global, the face of the global bully, and the kind of, China unleashed coronavirus on the world, and when other countries were busy fighting the virus, they then try to invade other countries and create conflicts with other countries. So this needs to be told to the world.
So you rightly said that such attempt like involving His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama in the Epstein file by the Chinese propaganda missionary won't affect the aura of His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Not at all.
You said it very rightly.
Yes.
So you met His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama thrice. So how was your impression of His Holiness when you met him for the first time?
Actually, I've met him more than thrice. I met him thrice in Dharamsala.
In Dharamsala,
yes. But I met him elsewhere multiple times. And it's beyond words. The sheer presence of His Holiness, the wisdom he emanates, and the aura around him, it's magical. You have such a strong sense of spirituality around him. You can't describe it in words. And he's childlike. Every word he speaks is so profound. And he's 90 now, and he behaves like a child. You can feel that excitement of a child in him, the energy, the simplicity, the innocence of a child. So this is something which you feel, personally you feel in his presence. And I've been very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to meet him many times. People across the world, they envy me actually. When I say, some of my friends, they say, we want to meet His Holiness once in our lifetime, and you have met him so many times. So that way I'm very fortunate. Honestly, I feel he's the living Buddha. You can get that aura. I would never, of course, I have not seen the Buddha, I have not met him. But we Hindus and Buddhists also, you guys also believe in reincarnation, rebirth, right? So I think, he is the embodiment of the Buddha.
Sir, I'll I'll talk about the concept of reincarnation in the later part of this podcast.
Okay.
Now I'll try to touch upon the fourth commitment of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that is the revival of ancient Indian wisdom. And His Holiness proudly calls himself as the son of India.
Yes.
So he says that his mind is nurtured by the ancient Nalinda-based traditions. So how should the government of India and her people take that seriously when His Holiness says that India has something to offer to this world?
See, this is the greatness of His Holiness. He has the humility to acknowledge that the Buddhist philosophy or the traditions, the Tibetan Buddhist, I mean, the learnings have traveled from India, specifically from the Nalanda school. And he has often said that India is our guru and we are India's chela. I mean, just imagine for His Holiness to say such a thing. Only a very, very grounded, very, very spiritual person, and a very humble person can say that. And this is why I believe he is one of the greatest ambassadors of ancient Indian learning and knowledge. Certainly the greatest living today, in my view. His Holiness is the greatest ambassador of Indian ancient knowledge, wisdom and learning. And this is precisely why a couple of us, some of us MPs, and people also who are not members of parliament, but established in other walks of life, we have been requesting Government of India to bestow the highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna, on His Holiness. Because I personally, this again, I'm speaking here in my own personal capacity. I am not speaking on behalf of my party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, or on behalf of Government of India, or on behalf of anyone else. But I think it would be a befitting tribute to His Holiness' contribution to India. And he has been living in India since 1959 as our revered, honored guest. So as much as India has given to the Tibetan community and to His Holiness, we have given asylum to His Holiness and his followers. And His Holiness has, I think millions of times expressed gratitude to Indian people and Indian government for that hospitality and for that affection and love. Likewise, I think people in India and India as a nation has greatly benefited from the presence of the Tibetan and particularly from the presence of His Holiness. So I think this deserves consideration by Government of India.
So when do you think the Government of India will confer Bharat Ratna on His Holiness the Dalai Lama, like in 5 years or in 10 years to come? So do you see that will happen?
I can't see. I am not the official spokesperson of the Government of India, nor can I speak on behalf of the government. I do not know. Honestly, I do not know. I hope it happens soon. I hope. And many of us felt that the 90th anniversary, birth anniversary of His Holiness was a great time to consider this. But I hope it happens. I don't know. I can't give you a time frame when it will happen, whether in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I can't give you that time frame. But I genuinely pray to Prabhu Jagannath that His Holiness gets the highest honor of India. That's Bharat Ratna.
So if that happens, then hypothetically, what would be China's reaction? So is that the reason why it is not happening?
No, I can't comment on that because it's a hypothetical question. See, my sense is that China will react in a foolish manner. They will make some foolish and stupid statements as they are prone to do. I mean, you just saw what they did when the Grammy Award was announced. So they will make some confrontational statements. But we shouldn't bother about that. See, Government of India has taken the stand that His Holiness is his guest, is an honored guest in our country, who is a religious and spiritual leader. Okay, and we don't see him as a political leader. And also, there are restrictions on His Holiness to engage in political activities. Okay, so to that extent, I don't see why China is reacting so aggressively and violently just at the mention of His Holiness' name. Okay, so I where it hurts, as though that is precisely why they are behaving like this, and that itself proves that if they are so scared of a religious spiritual person, with the second largest army in the world, and with such a $20 trillion economy and now a technological power, if they are so scared of one religious 90-year-old man, okay, then that tells why they are so scared. That proves the point.
Sir, as you discussed, a little bit about reincarnation. So in Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
I had the privilege of reading it.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, the chapter 2 of verse 22 talks about reincarnation, the concept of reincarnation,
Okay.
which is more like a body being worn out and the soul enters into a new body.
Right.
So that is there, right, sir? So in Buddhism, we also have the similar notion,
Right.
concept of reincarnation. Now, when we look at the other side,
Yeah.
the Chinese Communist Party, despite being an atheist state,
Yeah.
they do not believe in religion at all. The very founding father, who notoriously said that religion is a poison.
Yeah.
And they're very much interested in the reincarnation of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And the irony part is, sir, they don't like the current Dalai Lama,
Right.
but they are aiming at the 15th. So what is your...
You know why it is. You already have the answer. You see, they want to control the institution of Dalai Lama. They want to install a puppet Dalai Lama, just as the way they have installed a puppet Panchen Lama, and then through that puppet Lama, they will tell the world that Tibet has been historically part of China, and for ages, for centuries, for millennia, Tibet has been part of China, and we are very happy, we are contented. Tibet is flourishing. People in Tibet are having heavenly life. So they make all these statements, come out of the mouth of this puppet Lama. So that is why they want to control the reincarnation. But His Holiness has already said that the next Dalai Lama, the 15th Dalai Lama, will be born in a free country. Okay, China is not a free country. China is an authoritarian regime. There is no free press. There is no democracy there. There is no human right there. More than 1 million Uyghurs are being, incarcerated. More than 1 million Tibetan boys and girls are in boarding school, so-called boarding school. It's actually a concentration camp. Unfortunately, the world is silent. But the next Dalai Lama will certainly be from outside China and also from outside Tibet. Why Tibet? Because Tibet is now under the occupation of China. So the moment there is a reincarnation from Tibet, then automatically China will kidnap that person and the boy, and then he might get killed. Okay. Similarly, we don't know about the whereabouts of the original Panchen Lama, right? He was kidnapped in 1995. It has been more than 30 years, and youngest political kidnappee. So a country which does not believe in religion, okay, today is claiming the right to appoint or control the process of reincarnation. This is the most laughable thing one can imagine.
So at the beginning you spoke about Tibet's independence.
Yes.
So before China's occupation of Tibet,
Yeah.
Tibet acted as a buffer state between India and China.
Yeah.
And the Honorable Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh,
Yeah.
Shri Pema Khandu, proudly says that Arunachal Pradesh never shared a border with China.
Same here. I never say it's the India-China border. Never in my parliamentary intervention or otherwise in my writings, in my speeches, I call it the India-China border, because it's not the India-China border. It is the India-Tibet border. We don't share an inch of border with China. Okay, if Tibet were an independent country, today we would have that border with Tibet. Okay, and that was the case. Okay, until the occupation and until the invasion of Tibet by China. So even today I firmly believe that Tibet will gain its independence. It may not happen in my lifetime. It may not happen in your lifetime. Maybe another 100 years. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe another 300 years. But it will happen. No empire has lasted forever, and so will the Chinese empire, this so-called empire that we have today. India got its independence from the British colonial masters, rulers, after almost 200 years of struggle, from 1757 to 1947, almost 190 years. And I keep telling my Tibetan friends that your struggle is only 65 years old,
Yes, sir.
So don't lose hope. Keep the flame alive. Keep the struggle alive. Don't let people forget the narrative. That's my only advice to my Tibetan brothers and sisters. Don't let China control the narrative. Let the people of the world know that no, Tibet is an occupied land. It's not an internal issue of China.
So under your leadership, all party India Parliamentary Forum for Tibet was revived.
Right.
And I remember that you also introduced a private members bill titled Tibet Policy Act, which demands a special coordinator for Tibet within Ministry of External Affairs.
Right.
So do you see any happening, or are there any follow-up on that bill?
No, I did not introduce that bill. I did not. I could not. I did not introduce that bill. I was the convener of the all-party Indian Parliamentary Forum on Tibet. But then when I resigned from the Rajya Sabha, this was in September 2024, I also, as a matter of principle, resigned from the convenership. So though I got re-elected, Mr. Bhaturi Mehta, very senior leader from my state, Odisha, is the current convener. We meet regularly, and we do try to sensitize parliamentarians, MPs, and other political leaders about the Tibetan issue. We try to encourage them to raise the issues of Tibet in the parliament. We try to meet, the Tibetan government in exile, MPs from, MPs and officials from CTA. And also, we are also advocating for Bharat, for His Holiness, amongst other things. So these are the activities of the API PFT. Yeah.
And sir, I also remember that under your leadership, there were more than, I think, if I put it exactly, 80 parliamentarians who requested the government of India to confer Paratna on.
Close to 80. I mean, I'm not sure about the exact numbers now, but close to 80 had actually had been contacted, and they had given their consent, either written or oral. Okay, some had given written consent, some had given oral consent. The API PFT was in the process of collecting all the signatures. Now I need to talk to Mr. Mehtab to find out where we are on that. But I believe that many signatures were already collected. So I need to talk to him, and we might meet. The forum might meet in the coming week, or maybe towards the end of this week. We usually meet once or twice during the parliament session. So let me check with them. But this is something which is very close to my heart personally, and also the desire of the all-party parliamentary forum on Tibet, that His Holiness should be bestowed with the Bharat Ratna, and we'll work towards it.
Sure. Sir, as you are aware that Tibetan election is underway, and this is what I normally call a very bonsai democracy, in the largest democracy in the world. So you have visited Dharamshala thrice, you have visited Tibetan Parliament in exile. So how do you look at the evolution of Tibetan democracy in India? How do you look at it?
I think you have put it very aptly. Bonsai in the largest democracy. India happens to be the largest democracy, the oldest democracy on earth, close to 1 billion voters, and the 2024 election itself was, almost 700 million voters actually voted. So the numbers are staggering. And compared to that, the election of the Tibetan, parliament is small in size. But it doesn't matter. It's not about the number of voters. It's not about the size of the election. What matters is the principle. The fact that the Tibetan community, they are ousted from their own land. Today they are scattered across the globe. Yet they want to elect a leader through democratic means. They want to exercise their right as a Tibetan voter. And this is something which is priceless. This is something which is an eyesore for China, right?
So now
that is why they will never legitimize the CTA or the Tibetan Parliament in exile.
So this is one of the legacies of the government of India and her people for Tibetans.
Right.
Sir, I'll come up with very short questions, and I would also expect very short answers.
Oh, sure.
Obviously. Sir, do you think Tibetan issue is fading away in Indian Parliament?
Unfortunately, yes. I think I was looking at some of the debates of the 60s and 50s also, and thereafter, there were multiple instances of India-Tibet relationship being discussed in Indian Parliament. Unfortunately, we don't see that happening much today. I remember one honorable MP from Sikkim once spoke very passionately about Tibet.
Shri Sujeet Kumar.
Correct. And then MPs from the northeast, particularly from Arunachal, they have been talking about it. I have spoken a few times on the Tibetan issue, but otherwise, see, people, MPs particularly, are not very aware of the Tibetan issue. So I think the first and foremost task is to educate our MPs, our lawmakers, MPs and MLAs, and youth of this country. So this is where I think we need to organize events, seminars in every university in India, so that the future generation, the youth of India is a youthful nation. 50% of India's population is under 25. So they need to know. Okay, otherwise they will grow up thinking that, oh, this is something concerning China, let's not bother.
And so, Tibetan New Year, Losar, is falls on 18th of February. So, what is your wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Tibetans in general?
Well, I pray to the Almighty, to Lord Jagannath. Prabhu Jagannath is, the universal Lord from Odisha. So I pray to Prabhu Jagannath to give His Holiness a very long life, healthy life. May He keep guiding us, blessing us, and inspiring us. And I wish all my Tibetan brothers and sisters happy Tibetan New Year. Losar Prasidalek.
Sir, thank you so much for speaking to us. It was a very insightful discussion.
Pleasure.
I'm sure our audience will definitely like it. Thank you so much for giving us this
long live
time.
India-Tibet friendship.